Well, hello everyone, and welcome again to CLS Live, a live stream series presented by the publishers of Contact Lens Spectrum. I am your host, Jason Jedlicka, and as always, it is my pleasure and privilege to be part of this program. Each month, I have the chance to chat with leaders in the world of contact lenses, finding out what's going on in the industry from their perspective and with their insights. We talk about new and future products, the latest research, worldwide trends in prescribing, and even bring you updates from the floor of contact lens conferences. Today, we are going to make the last stop on our journey through the past, present, and future of contact lenses. If you've been following us along, this is our fourth episode in the series, and we're going to take a look into the future and what tomorrow might hold for our beloved contact lenses. To take this futuristic look, I have the great honor to have as my guest a true pioneer in contact lens education, publishing, research, and practice, and now someone that is shaping the lenses of tomorrow with his new projects, Dr. Joe Barr. Dr. Barr is an emeritus professor of the Ohio State University College of Optometry. From July 2007 through June 2014, Dr. Barr was with Bausch & Lomb, primarily leading clinical and medical affairs teams and as a member of the vision care leadership team, and most recently as vice president medical affairs, pharmaceuticals, and vision care. He did return to Ohio State in 2014 to start a clinical research group and retired in 2017. Dr. Barr spent 2 decades as editor of the professional journal Contact Lens Spectrum. He was founding editor of the first electronic newsletter for eye care professionals, Contact Lenses Today. He has over 50 peer-reviewed publications, primarily in cornea, contact lenses, and dry eye. He's a former chair of the section on cornea and contact lenses and refractive technologies of the Academy of Optometry. In January of 2020, he received the Global Specialty Contact Lens Congress Outstanding Achievement Award, and recently he was inducted into the AOA Hall of Fame. He is co-founder of Lentex LLC, which has multiple patents on a contact lens, which is designed based on natural structures of the eye to be suspended from the upper eyelid to provide spectacle-like vision for presbyopia, as well as astigmatism. And he's currently a VP of development and chief medical officer of that company. So that, Dr. Barr, was about a quarter of your bio. But if I didn't shave it down, we would have been at the end of our 20 minutes and we wouldn't have got to talk. So I just want to thank you for being here. I know you probably don't need to hear this, but I have a little bit of awe for you, and I've appreciated knowing you over the years and the times that we've had to chat. And I just think this is a really special opportunity for me to have you on this show. So thank you for being here.
Thank you, Jason. I appreciate so much being here, and thank you for that kind introduction. I want to mention the co-founder of Lentex and my co-inventor, who actually is the one that came to me and said, Joe, would you help me with this? That's Melissa Bailey, who's OD PhD at Ohio State. And I honestly, I've worked with a lot of innovative people in our space for a long time, and she is right there in the top few. Amazing person.
That's awesome. Yeah. And hello, Melissa. Melissa and I go way back as we were on the committee for recruitment or new membership for Academy a few years ago. So yeah, Melissa's a very strong achiever for sure. So thanks again for being here. And the theme today was kind of supposed to be the future of contact lenses, which we will get to, but you have such a strong history, obviously, with Contact Lens Spectrum that I can't stop going forward until we talk a little bit about that. So remind me a little bit about how you got started with Spectrum all these years ago.
Right on. When I was a graduate student, one of the keys to my experience was, I studied under DeKill and Jerry Lowther and John Schessler, and decided to stay on and be one of the first people to go through this graduate clinical program that they had put in place, where you'd see patients, the complicated cases especially. You would teach students, and you learn how to do research. Fortunately, and I mean, this is a huge thing for me. I mean, not only did I have background from Dick Hill and Jerry Lowther, John Schessler, but Neil Bailey was just across the street at 15th and High in his practice. And, Neil Bailey founded Contact Lens Forum and then Contact Lens Spectrum. And he asked me if I, would work with him in his practice. That was pretty complicated. No one who was a graduate student at that point in time had also been in clinical practice. And so, and we had a pretty strict dean then, recovered. And I think what happened was Dick Hill and Jerry Lowther and John Schessler persuaded the then dean that this was a good thing. And so being in the office, especially on Saturday mornings and then sometimes a night during the week with Neil was just mind-boggling. I mean, there was no instrument in his office, from the slit lamp to his modification equipment, that he hadn't re-engineered. He had started out as an engineer, really, and then went into optometry. So being with Neil was a tremendous learning experience. And then networking, it was log units of change in my ability to network with not only the people I was with at Ohio State, but with Neil. And he wanted to get out of practice. He wanted to get out of publishing, and took me under his wing and taught me the ropes and how you communicated with doctors and how you communicated with publishers and how you communicated with advertisers. So it was, it was the right place at the right time. And I was terribly eager to do that.
Yeah.
The perfect storm.
Yeah. Yeah, it probably was, because you stayed in that role for a long time. I mean, it was really a great place for you to probably continue to be so involved with contact lenses and the whole industry. And yet Spectrum really took off and thrived in that period. So I think it was a great match.
Yeah, fortunately, it was contact lenses were improving so much.
Yeah.
And solutions were improving so much. So again, just I thrived on that. And getting to know the scientists at the companies and the leading clinicians, and being with all those organizations that you mentioned. It was Neil is an exceedingly smart guy. He knew that I had a craving for this.
So he was the one who saw it in you then. So we owe him all the credit.
I do.
Well, so let's actually go back then and think about that span of time, the 20 plus years that you were editor in chief. And again, as editor in chief, probably nobody is seeing what's going on with the entire, spectrum of contact lenses, the changes, the way people are practicing, the changes in people practice, than the person who's the editor of Spectrum. Talk about where we were at. What year was it exactly that you started? Do you recall?
That's like 78, if not 77, probably 78.
Okay. So we're talking about
the
soft lenses were vialed yearly lenses. We
were making our own saline.
Yeah.
There was salt tablets, heat disinfection.
And rigid lenses were still PMMA at that point?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that's what an opportunity to learn, what can go wrong with a cornea from, we actually saw edema. We saw warped corneas from PMMA lenses, and yet, we knew there was potential there.
Yeah. So that's where we were at with practice when you started as editor. And then fast forward to when you left, and what did it look like then? I mean, then we had daily disposables, we had silicone hydrogel, we had high and maybe hyper
Yeah.
DKGP materials even. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah. I remember
so
the soft lenses were very thick.
uh,
You wore them till they hurt or caused too much GPC.
so they were too coated with deposits.
Yeah, salt tablet saline, and then we had. I think we went all the way to quarterly replacement from where it till it hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then you think about that compared to today, where you can get a daily disposable in any modality. I mean, really, and it's tremendous. The manufacturing leverage is amazing, and the solutions improve so much. I mean, chlorhexidine and thimerosal were just big problems for 25-30% of the people, and now we have preservatives that are effective but very gentle, and additives like HA that just it's a wonder molecule. So we've just come so far in terms of manufacturability and material science and solution technology.
Yeah, that's one thing that I don't think we always appreciate enough. And especially, I mean, for me, I've been doing this for a long time, but not quite that long. When I started in practice, 25 years ago, already at that point, we had some pretty good solutions. We had peroxides and we had multi-purposes that really didn't create a problem. I don't know if we always appreciate how much the evolution of solutions impacted practice, because you can look at the evolution of materials and say, even if you go back to those old materials, you could probably still wear them, but you could probably use those old solutions.
Oh yeah. No, and good for you for mentioning peroxide, because that has helped us so much.
Yeah. No,
I think the newer systems.
Yeah, I think the solution breakthroughs probably open the door for contact lenses to get a lot more utilization, just as much as the other technologies. So
absolutely.
So think about some other things that occurred during your years as editor. I mean, obviously there's some big breakthroughs. We talked about solution changes, talked about, the increased frequency of replacement. Well, what other big innovations did you feel pushed contact lenses forward into more and more utilization?
I haven't thought about that. The thing that comes to mind is the doctor in the early days of this profession did so much work, and the staff wasn't as, only the really leading practices had staff that were trained and maybe even had formal training, had actually learned from the doctor how to fit and made their practice more effective. So, I think that the integration of the rest of the team has really helped, make contact lens practice more efficient, especially with all of the different brands and modalities, and keeping all that in your head is it helps to have somebody at your side that's really, really helpful that way.
Yeah, I heard something years ago that talked about the impact or the influence of staff on patients wanting to try contact lenses, that if a staff mentioned contact lenses, it was just about as critical or valuable to the patient as the doctor mentioning it. And so I do think that that's probably part of it too, is having properly trained staff who also appreciate contact lenses.
Absolutely. I've had the opportunity to be in a lot of the, practices of people who have a lot of contact lens experience. Not to drop names. Some people like Dave Hansen, for example, Rex Gormley. And the way they had developed teams in their office with their partners, and then their staff was paramount.
You know what? Another thing I think is interesting is you talk about some of these other great contact lens prescribers, people who champion contact lenses and push them to the place where they are now, like Dr. Hansen and Gormley. I think, don't you think part of it is that when you do things at a high level and you do things well and you have success, that success breeds more success, that it snowballs.
Yeah. Yep.
And so for these people who found success with contact lenses by doing it at a high level and doing it right, I think that probably pushed a lot more people to go into it because they saw the success possible.
Absolutely. And that's where the organizations come in, the academy section, the AOA section, the camaraderie and the peer-to-peer education that's, not only formal, but I mean, think about how much you learned at a bar over coffee or breakfast,
right?
With not only your, colleagues or, recently, introduced colleagues, but with the company leadership as well.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right. I think networking plays a big part in this, and that's only getting easier to do with our access to all the social media and to meetings and to online communication. I think all of this is helping with networking and hopefully, again, helping people to advance in their skills faster than ever, if they want to. So let's talk a little bit about your newsletter you started, Contact Lenses Today, which of course I get every week in my email box. What was the inspiration for starting that at the time? And how did it fit into the whole environment, the contact lens environment at that point?
Well, I'll probably err when I say this, but certainly I was eager to do that. But it was whoever the publisher was at the time, and that could have been Ron Walker, that could have been Roger Zimmer. It was about in that time frame, and it was perfect timing for that, since that was a new possibility. And, the key there and what we wanted to do from the very beginning was make it very pithy. Just the facts, ma'am. And in that medium that's what you needed. And that was a blast. I mean, that was leading edge stuff, and it wasn't difficult to do. We had a lot more information than was going to go out in there. So, yeah, it was a breakthrough.
Yeah, and I think the fact that it's still going strong. I know I look at mine every week, and like you say, I don't necessarily read everything, but I at least take in what's all in there, and it's so easy to just spend a couple minutes and feel like you're up to date on something new and what's going on in the industry. I think it's a great tool for us. So,
when I thought, back in the day when it was just print, you got a magazine and you can't touch a page and link to a website, right, in the magazine. But with that medium, you can be at, some company's website or whatever, in a second. So yeah, it's a real leverager information wise. Yeah.
And then one other thing before we move on to future, because that is the point, but I have to talk to you a little bit about the GSLS, because that originated, it's got its origins going way back to the Global Ortho K meeting, which I think you were part of that getting going too, right?
Yeah, GOS. Yeah.
So how did that take place? At what point did you say, hey, this needs to change and we need to evolve into something new and to the format it's in today?
Yeah, I give a lot of credit to the publishers who were looking at these Vision Expos that's the one that was the biggest. And they said, we need to make sure that contact lenses are in the forefront in this. And because they were very much ophthalmic spectacle meetings. And so, we had to push the contact lens. People obviously wanted it because you wrap CE around it on the side. And we needed to make sure contact lenses were represented. And of course, the industry really wanted that, as well. So the publishers and and the leading clinicians and advertisers were in sync there. Good timing.
Yeah, and I think that the way the meeting has evolved into its current form, um, I mean, it was bound to happen because of just the laws of what people want, but the fact that it did evolve. But I think it, in a lot of ways, GSLS, the meeting it is, and how powerful it is, and how it brings all the people together, not only for education but for the networking,
Yeah,
is one of the reasons why I think specialty contact lenses is such a growing interest of specialization within optometry. I think
right.
people enjoy it because they have opportunity to see the impact of it from their peers.
And I always thought the best part of those meetings was not the formal or the planned, but the unplanned,
Mhm.
where you run into somebody and they've got an idea they want to pitch to you, and it's just the networking opportunities kind of transcend all the formal program,
Yeah,
because who is there, and they want everybody to know what they're thinking and to pick people's
absolutely.
brains. Yeah.
Absolutely. All right, so let's think futuristic. Let's think future of contact lenses.
Hmm.
And when I think about the future of contact lenses, we think about them using them for vision correction because that's what they've always been used for up to this point, for the most part. But there's this whole other field too of contact lenses as high-tech devices that allow you to do things in a visual space. But first of all, let's talk about actual traditional vision correcting lenses. What's new, or what do you see down the road in that regard, for more traditional contact lenses for the correction of vision? What things might we see in the future?
Yeah, in contact lenses. Well,
Correct.
I'm gonna try to not talk about what we're trying to do,
Hmm.
but we are trying to leverage, the anatomy of the eye, and come up with better vision for presbyopia. Because no matter how someone does that, we need that. The
Hmm.
presbyopes that want to continue in contact lens wear, and they're more able to now because the lenses work better, material and solution wise. Um, we've got to make the vision better for the presbyopic patient, no matter how we do that.
Hmm.
And I think that's a big one. Now I'll just leave it at that, and not
Yeah.
I don't want to promote what we're doing. Um, yeah, there's this whole business of how do we get the spectacle and the contact lens to work together, and we've seen a number of different people present these linked systems. It's not working yet,
Hmm.
um, and so I hope it does. Um, invested in a little bit of that.
So we hope
so
it works.
so yeah, I hope it works. But it's a big challenge, and no matter what we do there, even if you can make a technology like that work, where I can be sitting here and my daughter who's trying to reach me, with a text, and I can have my spectacles on and my contact lens, and they can work together, and I just look up in the corner of my eye instead of at my phone and
Hmm.
see, what the issue is, especially if it's emergency. That'd be great. Um, so, yeah, we got a ways to go there.
Well,
Um,
I think one of the things you mentioned though is really valid, and as we think about today's current contact lenses for just myopia, hyperopia, even astigmatism lens correcting lenses have gotten so much better. I think presbyopia really is the area where we still have much to improve upon
yeah,
traditional contact lenses. I think our vision systems just aren't that good. They're not
yeah,
that developed. And I think that is one area where I hope not only with, I guess, vision correction, but also, improved comfort for wearers of lenses in the presbyopic population. That's such a huge area that we've still just barely made inroads with.
yeah. That's a good point. I think, again, not trying to commercialize it, but I think I use this term and the marketers and word police don't like it when I say it, but what we do now with most soft contact lenses most of the time is we strangle the eye. They're actually deeper than the eye, right? And so getting tear flow is a good idea. I mean, it's a really good idea for a lot of reasons.
Yeah.
Wash away the bad stuff, get the good stuff out of there. So, it's that whole thing of, can we get better vision, but also can we get better health? I think we can get better health.
Yeah.
We've gone as far as we can with getting rid of solutions or making solutions better, and now and getting comfort. Now we've got to get comfort and tear flow.
Yeah, and I would agree with you. I think we have to be cautious about, the what do I want to say, the all-out fight for initial comfort versus the long-term wearability of lenses.
Yeah, well, very well said. Yeah.
There's a balance there, and I think you can make a lens very comfortable right out of the package, but whether that patient will still feel like their lenses are comfortable a year from now is a whole nother question. So,
right.
Great.
And that means to do that, as you described it, that's daily disposable.
Yeah.
And in the best scenario now. Yeah.
Yeah. I agree. But again, without making that initial comfort so comfortable that it, as the term you used, I won't use it, but I don't want to get in trouble, but the term you used as far as, the fit of the lens. So making it exceedingly tight, making it exceedingly deep makes it good at first, but is it good in the long run? So I love the idea of new developments, particularly in presbyopia. I do think that's an exciting area. And I think I think there's so much potential growth. We look at specialty contact lenses and the way ortho-K and sclerals are happening. I think, gosh, if we come up with some innovation in presbyopia, that's a whole nother category of growth that's waiting for all of us who want to practice specialty lenses.
Yeah, because so I'm going to be 70 this year, and it doesn't seem as old as it used to. Now, there's a lot of psychology involved in that personally, but people are more active at an older age, I think, than they used to be, and
absolutely
they want to be. And there's, they're active in a lot of things. So, like I like to play golf now a lot, and so we need to have the contact lenses work in all those situations, and on an aging eye as well.
Yep, agree. Well, as always, this time goes by so fast. I feel like we could keep talking forever, but we've got to wrap this up.
You and I could, I know.
I know, we probably could. So forget there's other people watching this too, but it is exciting to think about the change, and I'm glad you are still, involved with trying to innovate and using your experience to help bring about some new lens options for the future. So please continue to do that. And as we bring this time to a close, I just want to thank you for this time. And not only this time, but everything you've done to influence the contact lens world over the last 30, 40 years, your insight, and it's just a unique space for us to practice. It's a family, all those of us who use contact lenses as what we get our passion from and for. And it's great to be part of this family. So, and I was going to ask you a question now. So you retired in 2017. Is that why you got inducted to the Hall of Fame this year? Do you have to be 5 years retired, just like professional sports? Is that how that works?
I don't know. That's a really good question.
I guess we'll find out. So.
Certainly age matters, I guess, in that case.
I think so. All right. Well,
thanks again. It was an awesome thing to receive that, along with my great colleague Ed Bennett. The GP guy.
When I saw you two were getting it together, I thought how appropriate and how
so cool.
What a wonderful thing for you guys to not only receive it, but to receive it at the same time. I thought that was really cool. So
awesome.
Well, again,
Jason,
thank you.
thank you so much. Thanks all the folks at Contact Lens Spectrum. Keep up the good work.
Absolutely. Just a reminder, everyone, to look forward to our look for our prior episodes of CLS Live on the Contact Lens Spectrum page on Facebook or on clspectrum.com, as well as the transcripts of the show, which are appearing in the printed version of Spectrum each month now. And so lots of places to watch prior episodes and also to read the transcripts. So again, thank you, Dr. Barr. And thank you all for joining us. Look forward to next month for another episode of CLS Live. Take care and have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.